It's hard to make a beginning for one who comes to a new place with empty hands. Jacob Weaver, July 15th, 1815. Dear Father, I've taken the first opportunity to write you, informing you that we are all got to our journey's end, and with it blessings of God are all in good health, and hoping these few lines may find you the same, and likewise all my brothers and sisters. We started October the 16th, and we arrived at my father-in-law's on the 30th day of November, which is a passage of 45 days. To inform you much about the country is impossible at present. The soil appears to be very rich. We're settled in a house of my father-in-law's close to his door. You must remember all my love to all my friends and acquaintance. I remain with esteem your most obedient son, Jacob Weaver.
Thus began a series of letters, which over the course of their writing spanned 34 years. They are the only personal, tangible link which remains to tell the story of Jacob Weaver.
Dear Father, I received your letter. I remain living at my father-in-law's as yet, but have rented a piece of ground of my brother-in-law, Mr. J., and I intend to move in a fortnight or 3 weeks. I now live about 2.5 miles from the new laid-out town called Vevey, and 1 mile from the Ohio River. As for the enemy, I hear of no more danger here than where you now live, but what I can understand, the distance is far from them, at least 200 or 300 miles. The people here have another way of living than where you live. Their principal bread is corn, not because they can't raise no other sorts of grain, but the best cultivation for this country to make money is to plant vineyards, of which there are several. They tell me that they can raise from 200 to 300 gallons of wine to the acre, and it sells at $2 a gallon, so I intend to get some land cleared and plant a small vineyard. This kind of cultivation would be good for you to undertake, if you should find it fit to come to this country. My youngest child's name is Fanny, which you all said would not get here alive.
Jacob's letters were soon full of statements extolling the benefits of this new life in the Indiana Territory. He began encouraging those who remained in New York to join him.
To Mr. Peter Weaver, dear brother. Now, I'll give you some information on the River Ohio. This being a beautiful river, it can be navigated up and down by people that understand the channel with safety, from Pittsburgh to the Falls and so on to Orleans. Lots passes up and down almost every day with dry goods, hardware, crockery. Boats are buying corn, potatoes, fowls, and food. There's 1 steamboat sailing up and down below the falls, and there is 2 more a-building at Pittsburgh. It's calculated to be one of the best rivers for trade in America, if peace should come. Inform me of our uniform companies, and tell me which went to Canada, and if they and all those of our acquaintances returned safe. No more at present. I remain your affectionate brother, Jacob Weaver.
In March of 1814, Jacob makes his first mention of what is now Musée de Venoge. He had been living along Plum Creek. However, that piece of property was prone to severe flooding.
The Ohio River raises so much in a season as to be 40 feet perpendicular from low water to high freshet. With this backed the water up Plum Creek and overflowed almost half the land I bought, about 10 or 15 feet deep. Finding this out, I thought this place not fit to live on, so I therefore inform you that I found a place to suit me better. Of my brother-in-law, Louis J. Aubussier, at a place called Indian Creek. The price I gave for this land is $6 an acre to be paid in 10 years' time.
Though Jacob was very optimistic over the prospect of better land, the lack of communication from his family in Ulster County began to weigh heavily upon him. You can sense it when he writes.
I never heard any word from him, except my youngest brother, Abraham. I also wish you to write me about all my sisters and their families. Their husbands can write much better than me, but I never received the scratch of a pen from their hand informing me of theirselves or their families. I therefore wish you to do it for them, if they won't do it themselves.
Abraham Weaver and his brother Jacob corresponded frequently over the following years. Often, Jacob finished each letter to his father with a personal note to his younger brother.
My brother Abraham requested, write about the war, whether any of the men had to be turned out. Since peace is made, there's not much need to say much about it. There has been armed men enlisted for the term of 1 year, called Rangers. They were sent to the back settlements if it should happen the Indians should break through. This was done so as to keep them from coming any further. There was an Indian chief and his squaw someplace on the Wabash River on some business. But the wind blew hard and the river was deep, so they could not get over. And a captain of the Rangers, as I'm informed, told the chief that he could stay at his house until next morning. At night, there came one of the Rangers and shot through the window and killed the squaw. Since this happened, the Indians came to that place and murdered some of the people. Now, I'll let you know the reason of me not going on my place yet. I want to try to raise something first, to live on while I get some land cleared. It's hard to begin in the green woods. It takes 3 years for trees to die after they're girdled in this country. To clear land out of the green woods costs $14 an acre, so you may judge for yourself what work it takes. It's hard to make a beginning for one who comes to a new place with empty hands. I don't yet rue my bargain, but I hope to like it better when I get fairly started.